Glass half dead here, and more relevantly, someone that has been in and out of Warhammer lore for the past 20 years. That's painful to say. Now, I first became aware of it during the second edition of 40k, and throughout the years, despite a natural wax and wane of my interest and involvement with Warhammer, I've never truly left it. Since Kill Team released, I've dived back into the game, the lore, and the community without reservation. I've noticed a few people being drawn into Warhammer for the first time, and this video is going to tell you how to fully explore the Warhammer 40,000 background and lore. Basically, I'm going to recommend books for you to read, so I hope that's your thing. Now, I'm not actually going to do a lore series as other YouTubers have already done that, and I highly recommend checking out Lutin09 and One Mind Syndicate and a few others that hopefully, if I haven't been lazy, I've actually bothered to link in the description below and put up on the screen right now. A slight heads up for all the new players. Warhammer 40,000 is set in, unsurprisingly, the 41st millennium. Games Workshop has struggled with this fact for the past 40 years, adamantly refusing to ever progress the storyline of the universe. Presumably because they didn't want to rebrand to Warhammer 41,000, which makes a lot of sense actually. However, to pretty much everyone's astonishment, they finally progressed things when 8th edition released and we have new lore. Like, new, it's crazy. So everyone's first port of call has to be the great tome of the core Warhammer 40,000 rulebook. That gives you your basic background and your up-to-the-minute information on the new lore and a stupidly named Cicatrix Maledictum. Minor note though, they gave up on calling it that, the Cicatrix Maledictum, as they realised it was kind of silly, and after the core rulebook, it is almost exclusively referred to as the Great Rift. Okay, you've read the core rulebook, and now you have a general idea of what the Warhammer 40,000 universe is about. Great. Here's the reading list order you want to follow. Crusade and Other Short Stories, Gaunt's Ghosts, 15 Hours, Hell's Reach, Caiaphas Kane, Eisenhorn. And a bonus one if you're into Kill Team, The Last Chances. It's literally Dirty Dozen in the 40k universe. It's pretty short, there's 3 of them in the series, but exclusive rumour from the Warhammer World Weekend here, it's coming back with a 4th book and we get to meet the whole gang again after some Great Rift shenanigans. So, why these 6 books? Crusade and Other Short Stories is a recent book and it is specifically designed to be an introduction for new people to 40k. Games Workshop has a school partner system where they will provide gaming supplies to schools to get kids into it. It's actually an amazing scheme, by the way. But this isn't about that. But with that kit, the kit designed to get kids into the game, 2 copies of this book are included. And this book is new enough to include Primaris Space Marines. And then it jumps around, giving you a little taste of each of the factions. There's Imperial Guard, Inquisition, Tau, etc. Think what you will of Games Workshop, but they are doing great things to make the game easier to get into, and this is one of those things. In all honesty, this isn't Black Library's finest fiction, guys. Let's be honest, okay? But this is a truly beginner-friendly book. If you know next to nothing about Warhammer, this is your book. However, if you already have a faction you want to dive into greater depth with, then, shall we say, there are better books. Gaunt's Ghosts starts with First and Only, and it now has 15 in the series at the time I'm recording this. We get to watch the characters grow and change rank and position and role and become different people. But I'm not suggesting the entire series to you. No. That's your call, and you'll know if you want to continue after the first book. The reason this is number 2 on the list is because it's a well-written book that plays on relatable themes and uses regular humans. In my opinion, the Black Library authors are really hit and miss when writing Space Marines. But in First and Only, we're in safe hands, and this is a story that teaches us about life in the Imperial Guard and the treachery of the Great Enemy. That's Chaos, by the way, if you don't know that. We focus on a Colonel Commissar by the name of Ibram Gaunt as he takes command of a newly conscripted army of Imperial Guardsmen and women, I'll note, and the crazy shenanigans they get up to during the Sabbath Crusade. The reason this is book 2 on the read list is because it doesn't get too grimdark and go into crazy details about 40k. It's just a classic military sci-fi. You won't get thrown into the deep end here, but you will get a few glimpses of wider 40k lore. 15 Hours is book 3 because of the essence of the book. Again, this is military sci-fi and we're still with the Imperial Guard, this time facing the orcs instead of chaos. For anyone that only has a passing knowledge of orcs, you might think of them as funny and goofy and they like a good fight. This book depicts them for the nightmare brutish beast hulks that they really are. After this book, you'll realise how horrible a species that are depicted like this and that reproduce through spores when they die can truly be. This is grimdark orcs as they should be. The hook to this book is the title. 15 hours is the average lifespan of an Imperial Guardsman once deployed. Can our protagonist beat the average? It's a good read, so find out for yourself. Hell's Reach is, to my mind, the best portrayal of a Space Marine that I have read so far. Black Library always seems to miss the mark just a bit when it comes to Marines, and I understand why. They're not human. They're as alien as the Eldar, honestly. They experience emotions differently to us, and so when writing them, they tend to be... well, yeah, okay, no, they are super two-dimensional. And they tend to either be giant man babies that are experiencing an emotion for the first time, or they're just boring. Now, both of those depictions are accurate to lore, but yeah, terrible to read. Well, Hell's Reach was the first book for me that really made me understand and enjoy reading from a Space Marine's perspective. It's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, as I didn't like them, so now I don't read them, so changing my mind is going to be really hard on that front. For example, I hear that Lucas the Trickster is really good, and the Ragnar series. But I'm not going to read those, so... Anyway, Hell's Reach would actually be on top of the list, and it's honestly a great book. But I feel that if you're getting into Warhammer right from the beginning, then you want the more human elements of the Imperial Guard to ease you into it. However, this book does have those normal elements as well. If you want a Space Marine in your book right from the get-go, then this is the book. If I could only recommend a single book, it is Hell's Reach. Without a doubt, hands down, Hell's Reach. But if you're in this for the long haul, or you're trying to ease someone that's not too sure about the whole 40k thing into it, then this is book number 4. Caiaphas Kane is book 5, and for damn good reason. This is the only series that Black Library publishes that is, very clearly, humorous. Don't get me wrong, it's not a laugh-a-minute slapstick, but it is laced with humour throughout. The titular character, Caiaphas Kane, is a retired commissar, and we are reading his memoirs. His tell-all about how he became famous and built a completely undeserved reputation for heroism. He's the kind of guy that would run away from an enemy, only to run into a greater force during his retreat, accidentally defeat the ambushing force, and then be hailed as a hero for his early action. He's a bit of a cavalier rogue that just so happens to be working for the Imperial Guard. All his books are quick, light reads, and should definitely be read for a bit of levity to the seriousness that Warhammer typically brings. For any that have already read these books, for your information, he's based pretty directly on a series of books called Flashman by George MacDonald Fraser, a British soldier from the 1800s. And our final books are the Eisenhorn trilogy, claimed by some to be the best 40k books ever released. This series follows an Inquisitor, and it really is a must-read so that you can see how the Imperium works when you hold the highest badge of office in the entire universe. While I don't think, personally, that this is the best 40k book, I do think it's a solid read and definitely a must-read for anyone getting into 40k. And there you go, everyone. 6 books that will take you from not knowing what a servitor is to being able to hold your own in most lore conversations, and really, isn't that why we're all doing this? so we can pretend like we know more than other people about a made-up universe that could be retconned at any time. At least that's why I do it. Would any of you have picked different books for beginners? Have I got the order all messed up and Eisenhorn has to be first? Maybe you think 15 hours sucks. Also, what is your favourite Space Marine focused book that really gives them a great portrayal and can convert me to actually liking Space Marine books? All answers on a postcard to my comment section. Probably don't need a postcard actually. Might be able to just type. I don't know. I don't know how YouTube really works. Anyway, I hope you found this a helpful guide for getting started with Warhammer fiction, and if you want advice for which books to read for a specific faction, just ask and I will do my best to answer. Have a great day everyone. Glass half dead, logging out.